Hello everyone, this is Bala Phalani from NTK America. Today we have our group of professionals from USA to discuss and share their thoughts and opinions on agriculture, animal husbandary, and fish aquaculture policies of NTK for the state of Tamil Nadu. We all should know that agriculture is the largest source of livelihood in India with more than a billion population. Approximately in 2027-2018, total food grain production was estimated at 275 million tons. Today, we have guest speakers discussing on NTK's revolutionary approach to meet the needs of food and agriculture demands for the state of Tamil Nadu. Also, everyone should know that in the state of Tamil Nadu, around 70% of the state's population is involved in agricultural activities, as this is one of the major means of livelihood in Tamil Nadu. Being said that, let me introduce our guest speakers here. We have Thangaswamy from the state of West Virginia, speaking on the topic of agricultural land management and science behind the crops. Welcome, Thangaswamy. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and the topics you're going to discuss today with us? Thank you.
Thank you, Bala, for kind introduction. My name is Thangaswamy Swami. I did my undergraduation and masters in agriculture in Tamil Nadu Agricultural University. Then I did PhD in rice biotechnology. Currently, I'm working in West Virginia State in the US for the environmental protection. And since I'm a member of NTK, and I would like to share my experience, and then I would like to put forth the importance of land races and the importance of post-harvest management of the agricultural produces. And just to give you the brief introduction, it is really unfortunate for our community that we all forget what our traditional staple food was in the history. But however, people slowly realize and come back to our traditional food crops because of a lot of health issues. But there are a lot of challenges of cultivation and post-harvest management in the future. So I would like to be more than happy to answer your questions and concerns.
Thank you, Thangaswamy. Thanks for your introduction. Next, we have Selva, who will be introducing himself and discussing on the organic farming practices that NTK has put forward for the agriculture sector and the use of microorganisms in agriculture. Selva, could you please introduce yourself and your topic, please?
Thank you, Bala. Yes. So as Thangaswamy Anna clearly pointed out that we're all going back to natural farming, organic farming, right? The world is going towards it. If you look at the organic food products industry in the US, it has grown threefold since 2008. It was $20 billion US dollars, and now it has grown nearly 60 billion US dollars in US. The demand for organic foods itself, the world by itself is moving towards organic food products. The demand for it, yes. The NTK policy mainly states about bringing forth the multi-organism ecosystem within our farming land. So that's stated as the first work that NTK is proposing for the agricultural reforms that it's looking forward to make when it comes to power. I'm going to talk little more about the organic farm and how NTK is planning to remove the usage of fertilizers and chemical weed control processes in agriculture. NTK is proposing a 5-year plan for slowly replacing the harmful chemicals and fertilizers that has removed our natural land's fertility. So the main question is how our population is going to be fed with this organic farming. That reminds me of a old saying in Tamil epic in Purananuru, which says, "ஒரு பிடி படியும் சீரிடம் எழு களிறு புறக்கும் நாடு கிளவோயே." This poem in Purananuru states that in Tamil Nadu there is a land, agricultural land, even within the size of that land is just enough for an elephant cow to lie down and rest. Within that small area, we could produce the food grains that is needed for 7 fully grown elephant bulls. So even though this is poetic, but the land was so fertile in the earlier ages. This is, I'm talking about 2000 years before in Tamil Nadu. As we are all aware, making a good agricultural land takes generations of hard work. The current level of production in Tamil Nadu is around 11.4 million tons of food grain production, right? So this is the current level of production, but then we are slowly losing the land fertility, and there may be questions around how we are going to produce at the same level in near future because of the loss of microorganisms and the collapse of the food cycle that is based upon the microorganisms. The multi-organism ecosystem is collapsed. So NTK is going to enforce or encourage farmers who return back to organic farming through subsidies over a period of 5 years, and then increase the level of organic production on a phased manner so that the demand is met, and as well as we are slowly returning back and repopulating our soil with the multiple organisms needed. So that's the vision that NTK proposes for as its agricultural policy. Bala, back to you.
Thank you, Selva, and thanks for bringing the quote into this discussion about our ancient farming practices from our Tamil literatures. That was very refreshing to know. Thanks for your points. Then the next question will be for Thangasamy, since he gave his introduction and he's also educated in, he has a degree in agriculture. I would like to know, Thangasamy, could you please tell us what are the key Tamil traditional land crops? What are their varieties that has been in the usage in the past before India introduced modern agriculture? Can you also, I know millets are one of the native crops of Tamil Nadu, which our ancestors have consumed in the past too. If we are going to move into agriculture or production of millets, how are we going to meet the needs of the growing population in Tamil Nadu? And how are we going to compare the modern day cereals and cornflakes? And how are we going to compare the benefits of switching back to millets? What are the advantages of millets? Could you please explain us?
Introduce about the major food crops what we eat as like a staple food, and it includes like cereals like a rice, wheat, barley, and then millets come with a pearl millet, sorrow millet, finger millet, and there are many millets. Then followed by oil seeds, pulses, spices, and fruits and vegetables. These are all come together like a staple food. And in each of these items, we have plenty of land races. So what is a land race? Land race is a traditional cultivar where our forefathers or the old people, they choose the varieties based on the preference. It can be taste, it can be good for cultivation, and it can be for palatability and many different aspects. And they don't need a lot of water. They use only, I would say, 1/20th of the water which a rice consumes. Because for rice, we have to have the stagnation of water above the land. So the millets, we have a lot of different land races for each of these items. For example, in rice, we have Mandamari Nallu, Nutri Pattu, and Karudan Samba, Sivapu Kauni, Norungan, Tondi, Ziraga Samba, Mapule Samba, Tangankar, etc. So there are multiple land races for each of these varieties. And in millets, we have plenty. For example, pearl millet. We have pearl millet we grow in Tamil Nadu, and this is originated from the African and the sub-Saharan African. So they can withstand very hot temperature under dry land. And in this case, since so many millets, they top in the growth and conditions and they adapt easily to the dryland conditions. And in Tamil Nadu, we know that though we have a good rainfall, but we have a lot of rain-fed lands where we can grow these millets. That's why the millets were once called is a staple and very healthy food. The other questions you asked about how we are going to meet out this growing population with the less millet production, because usually millets give less production compared to rice and wheat. We know that throughout the India we grow half the India we grow rice, and then northern half we grow wheat. But here is a very important point. We have plenty of lands in Tamil Nadu which are untapped resources or undeveloped or barren land. If we convert those lands into a cultivable lands through agricultural practices for 1 or 2 years or even 5 years, those lands are really good fertile lands for these crops. And we must increase, there's a land increase. The second part is we have to follow the natural biofertilizers. Very important. And biofertilizers, they keep all the microbiome intact. They won't kill the microbiome, they will keep intact. And the microbiome is very important because it's a pool of microorganisms taking up the nutrients into the plant. And once the plant grows, we don't need any fertilizers because the sunlight, all the grains are formed because of the photosynthesis using the green leaf tissue. And third point is we have to grow these millets in the right place, in the right environment, and the right season. So, and third is we have to stop the speeding urbanization, because urbanization is reducing our cultivable lands. So that's another most important point we have to think of. And what is the advantage of using that millets instead of other cereals which we consume, rice and wheat? We have a lot of health issues. We know that. But the older people like our grandfathers, they didn't have this issue because they ate only raw grains, raw vegetables as a whole grains. That's what we have to eat, whole grains. And compared to these major cereals, what are the advantages of millets? And millets, the major advantage is the nutritional value. For in general, for every 100 grams of grains, millets give 378 calories compared to rice, which gives just 130 calories. But you have to consume the same amount of 100 grams. Then you can imagine it's almost 3 times of energy we get from the millets. And in addition, the millets contains unsaturated fatty acids, a moderate amount of carbohydrate and proteins. In addition, the millets contain good fiber and different types of minerals such as calcium, magnesium, manganese, potassium, phosphorus, and even the selenium, sodium, zinc. These are all very, very essential elements which we buy from the Costco or Walmart as a medicine tablets. These grains, they contain inside that grain. And we all forget in the history, and we are now realizing. And the third important point, it contains amazing vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin B, like a folate, niacin, riboflavin, and vitamin C, D, E, and K. So these millets together, it contains all the vitamins. That's why we can call eating millets as a medicinal staple food of this generation. And in addition to these above points, I would like to mention growing these millets in any environmental conditions you can grow these plants. The reason is, as I mentioned earlier, they grow in the dry land. So once in the season, four simple rains is enough. One for germination, and 2 times for the weeding time, and the fourth is just when the seed formation happens. this light drizzle is enough, and we can get the crop and harvest the grains and bring back home. And in addition to this, how do we maintain these grains? Because if we don't have the seeds, there are multiple types of seeds formation. You can store in the room temperature for short-term period. Once you harvest like a grains, part of that you store like a for food and a small quantity for the seed. If you want to grow next year, you can grow in the room temperature. If you want to grow again the crop after 4 years, you can keep and store in the low temperature, like a refrigerated temperature. And one more preservation method is there is called cryo preservation, which where we store the seeds under very low temperature, and it's a frozen. So it can be there for 100 to 200 years. And people take the small embryo inside the seed and put in the some solutions, store solution. You can keep it in the like a -70, -80. It can be there for 100 years with the complete viability. That's the more important. And the truth is, the seeds don't expire. Only they lose its viability. So we need to keep the viability intact. And those are the main points. And the last two important points, because my friends from Tamil Nadu, they asked these questions. Do we keep this land research, whether we have enough land research? And I would like to mention this point to everyone. In fact, we have plenty of traditional varieties for each crop. Countryside village farmers and tribal communities near the small hill lakes and mountains, still they have those seeds, and we are not aware of. Tamil Nadu Agriculture University maintains very good germplasm, and the germplasm collected through different areas, because the gene banks, we have gene banks, gene sanctuaries, farmers' fields, markets, and then seed companies. So we have plenty of resources where we can collect these seeds and then keep the germplasm. Germplasm is very important. Whatever we have the identical land race, we have to keep the resource for the future generations. That's the most important. And then International Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, which is the International Institute in Hyderabad. They maintain most of the millets germplasms. In addition, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, which is based in Chennai, and they have sub-centers in Kolli Hills and in different small mountains. And they collect all the germplasms. They keep this, they maintain this with the community participation, local community participation. And last point, but the not least, once we grow all the grains, how are we going to save this grain? How are we going to distribute to the people? That's the most important. And improper storage of the major of the grains or anything is a major problem what we face now, because that is the post-harvest loss. And in India, we say the Food Corporation of India, they say they estimated 15% of the grains we lost in 2018-19 year. But in fact, this United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO) estimated 40% of the total grains we lost. And you imagine 40% means almost 60 crores people food we waste. That's really unacceptable. And as of March 2017, though it's older data, we had only 7,645 cold storages having aggregate holding the capacity of 34.95 million tons storage. What's the main problem here? The common storage godowns from the FCI, Food Corporation of India, they don't have good facilities. The buildings are gone, the racks, and then they have windows open, so all the moisture from the air enters inside. Once the moisture enters anything, it will spoil. The fungus grows, and then the seeds germinate. Those are all the major issues currently we have. And but the NTK agenda, we have that. We strongly believe that we will build these strong storage facilities in each and every taluk headquarters, district headquarters, even I would say at panchayat level if needed, to distribute these seeds at the right time to the local farmers. And so in that case, with the help of good storage facilities, we can prevent the losses from rotting, insect and pest attacks like a rat and insects, and the inclement weather conditions. So the take-home message from my point of presentation, like land races, everything, inculcating the traditional organic agriculture will lead to the healthy life in future. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Tangaswamy. Thanks for your detailed explanation on your topic of land management, and from your discussion, we can understand that most of these millets are all drought resistant, and that is what is suitable for a state like Tamil Nadu, where we are always expecting monsoonal rain, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But since these crops being drought resistant, it looks like optimal agricultural practices for our state of Tamil Nadu, and that will be also bringing back our native crops will be beneficial for our health, for our future generations. Thank you for your comments. Yeah. And next guest we have here is Vajra Babu. And Vajra, could you please introduce yourself and give some explanations on improving animal husbandary and poultry farming, which will be your topic of discussion today. And please explain us on the history of farming and currently where we are in, and also why should we move away from modern farming methods and bring our ancient native farming practices back into the agriculture practices. Thank you.